Good morning. It's Friday, April 29th, and as usual this morning I was searching for something to talk about. And I discovered another situation where the United States has been slow to act. Let me talk about this. This deals with the water shortage and the huge drought that we are having on the West Coast. The drought has been called historic, and Southern California's people were told yesterday to reduce outdoor watering in an unprecedented order. And they're doing that to conserve the water. So they're only allowed to water their lawns 1 day a week because the reservoirs that are supplying them are running low. We don't have enough water to meet the normal demands for 6 million people. That's what the officials said, right? So the metropolitan area in that part of the region is calling on residents in the region to cut their water consumption by 35% to avoid a full ban on watering later in the summer. Their move comes as California faces climate crisis-fueled dry conditions. That's hot weather and no rain. They did have a lot of snow, but it didn't help much. And the situation in Lake Mead, which is the largest man-made reservoir in the country, has grown terrible because at Lake Mead, the intake valves are starting to show up above the surface of the water. The oldest intake valve there is above the water. It's 5 feet above the water, which means it can't take water. It can't suck water into its system to provide the water that's needed for the locals, and Lake Mead supplies a lot of water to people in Nevada and California and several other states in that area. And know what I'm talking about now because it's another situation that we have seen, but we have taken no action against it. It seems to me that we have an ocean out there. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's the Pacific Ocean. I know if you live on the East Coast, we have the Atlantic Ocean. But it's the Pacific Ocean. And we have drought conditions that have been going on for a long time now. It's taken a long time for Lake Mead to drop this low. So I ask you, if we were an intelligent country, what would we be doing about this? That's the question I have to ask. Now, I uncovered the fact that there are over 1,400 desalinization plants in the United States. And there are 11 of them in and around San Diego, I believe, in California. But that only supplies 10% of the water that humans need. And most of the other desalinization plants in this country are used to clean up water so that it can be used for industrial purposes. They don't clean the water from huge lakes and rivers. They clean it up from streams and things like that for health reasons and for the reasons that it may be used for some other purpose, but not for humans. It's not for humans. So what we have to do in this country is increase the level of desalinization plants that we have in this country, specifically for human use. Now, California has, as I said, 11 plants, and they're planning more, but it's not moving that fast. We have thousands of people who need jobs. We ought to get them working on these plants. Why can't we utilize the people who are unemployed or are collecting, unemployment insurance? Why can't we use these people to help with the desalinization that we need in this country? How about using the Keystone Pipeline people who were laid off? How about that? There's plenty of water in the oceans, and plants probably should be spread out along the coastline to take care of the people in California, in Nevada, Arizona, Utah, wherever there's a need for water, that water ought to come from the Pacific Ocean. We can't afford to allow Lake Mead to drop another 5 or 10 feet. It's ridiculous that we have not solved this problem yet. And I mean, we are working very slowly, very, very slowly in this country. And there'll always be a yelling and a screaming about the budgets that we build and everything. But there have to be things that are beyond budgetary issues. So if you need a desalinization plant in California, you have to raise the money. You have to get the people who are in desperate need to pay something for that. So a raise in taxes is not a terrible thing if it goes for desalinization. Instead of putting money into campaign funding, why don't we drain off some of that money and use it for desalinization plants? Which would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. But no, we're not going to do that. We're going to let people run out of water. We're going to let people bathe once a week. We're going to do all those things. Don't water your lawn. Don't plant anything. What are we doing in the middle of this country? We must be draining water from the Mississippi or something in order to keep those farms going. But don't forget that out on the West Coast, we have a lot of farming. We have a lot of agriculture on the West Coast. So this drought is going to not only cause people to run around dirty, it's not only worrying about their lawns, but what about the farms and the farmers out there? They're suffering from this drought too. And we have to take care of them. We have to make sure that they are producing enough food, enough vegetables for us. So desalinization plants, we don't have enough of them. We have 1,400, but we don't have enough of them. Because they are not generating, most of them are not generating water for people's use. They're generating it for other reasons. And the plants that are generating water for people's use are producing only like 10% of what they need. The other 90% goes somewhere else. So this situation has to be reviewed. It has to be looked at again and again and again. Because we're fighting Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is not anything that we can reasonably control. So we have to use what she has given us to our advantage. And that means using the oceans and using the stream, cleaning them up so that we can drink them and we can bathe in them safely. I mean, I don't know how many of us buy bottled water, but those people must be getting their water from someplace. And I don't drink bottled water. I have tap water and I love it. So I leave you with those thoughts. Once again, we are a snail of a country, and that should be our national symbol, the snail. So I leave you with that, and I will see you tomorrow.